homeschool haul for you today. I've got two piles, one upstairs and one downstairs. So I'm gonna show you both of them because we've been buying. Does anyone else do this? Kind of you buy some Christmas presents that are mostly for your homeschool rather than actual, you know, like toys and stuff the kids asked for. You know, it's a nice, good time to spoil your homeschool a little bit too. I'll show you what we've been getting. Okay, so I got this for my preschooler. It is, and this feels wrong because I'm not right-handed, so if I'm holding it weird, that's why. It's a little tracing board. It has capitals on the front side and lowercase letters on the back side. And it's textured, you can tell, so you can feel it with your finger, trace with your finger, trace with the little stylus here. But as he's just getting into learning his letters more, I think that'll be super cool. It was a good price too. Then this is something I'm really excited about. I'll switch hands here because I am very left-handed. Learn to Read Chinese Book 2, 6 Classic Folk Tales in Simplified Chinese, 700 Word Vocabulary. Simplified Chinese, if you're not familiar with that, that means the style of characters that are used in mainland China. That is the style of characters that my sister has been learning in her Chinese classes. But this was a treasure of a book. It is very hard. You know, they always say just read books for little kids when you're learning a second language. It's really hard to do that in Chinese because they're always just throwing in random story-specific characters that are not necessarily characters you learn in your first 700 characters or so. She is probably a little bit lower than a 700 word vocabulary, maybe in the 500 to 600 range, but this is very doable for her because look at the way it's set up. This is genius, and I'm sorry if if you haven't studied Chinese, the genius might not be that obvious. But here's the Chinese characters. The pinyin is not written right below or right above the characters, it's actually written on the other side. That makes it easier to actually go through reading the characters rather than just cheating and reading the pinyin, which is a really good thing when you're learning. But the pinyin is there, so oh, you make it to a character and you're like, oh, I forgot how to say this character. You can come over here and then you can find fuqin, then you find chin right there. Okay, it's chin. And then you can keep reading. So you don't get stuck on a character that you don't know how to pronounce because the pinyin is right here. Then, if there's a character that you don't know how to pronounce and you don't know what it means, you can find the pronunciation in the pinyin, and then you can come and find it in the glossary in the back, the meaning. So all the 700-ish words that they use are in the glossary in the back. And they also have English translations of the stories, not right next to the story, but all the way in the back, which makes it so that you can focus on reading the story and understanding it without cheating and looking at the English translation right next to it. I thought that was a very brilliant design. These are classic folk tales. We have almost finished the first folk tale. We've only had this for a little bit, but I saw this at a bookstore and I thought it was a treasure in the beginner/intermediate language learning of Chinese. Once you get past, you know, all that basic beginner stuff, how do you start bridging into real reading? Well, this is still, I mean, 700 characters is still quite a ways from real reading, but this is a good way to get closer. And after we finish this, I'd like to find more in the series. The bookstore I was at did not have all of these, and I didn't know what it was like because it was just wrapped in plastic. Once I got it, bought it and unwrapped it, I really liked it. Then this Faith Girls Lena in the Spotlight series was actually recommended by Brittany Olga at her channel over there. She got it for her daughter, and when I heard of them, I immediately messaged my parents and said, you gotta buy these for my youngest sister. It's about a young girl who wants to be an actress. It's her dream to be an actress, and then she gets an acting job in a movie, and it's following her adventures through all of that. It is a Christian or faith-based series. So I thought that my parents and my youngest sister would really appreciate that because my youngest sister, what she's always talking about is that she wants to be an actress. I thought that this was a great way to kind of, you know, support her little daydreams and dreams right now, but also from a more faith-based perspective in a world that, in a certain field that can seem very, very not faith-friendly. But thought that was cool. It's a 3-book series. She got it for Christmas and she's started it, as you can see. Then this is also a series we got her for Christmas. She got a whole lot of books for Christmas. This is the I Survived series. They bought actually a box set of the whole series of I Survived because I had bought her previously 2 of the books and brought them back from America, and she loved them. So we ended up getting the whole entire series, and this is a great level for kids who, you know, can't necessarily read like super, you know, solid, like, you know, big chapter books, like the serious chapter books, but they're old enough to read independently. They're old enough to want to read chapter books that are beyond just, you know, beginner chapter books. They're a good medium. They're a good middle ground. And of course it's historical fiction, which makes it kind of interesting and educational here. So you can just see the destruction of Pompeii. Someone survived. What? You can see the just different types they have here. I think there's 20 books in the series, and she got the whole series. So that was a pretty cool Christmas present right there. All right, let's get started with the haul. I am going to start with the one that I'm just super excited about. This is a giant book, and this is actually what I picked as a Christmas present with Christmas money. That was for me, for my gift, and this is something I encourage you, moms, you know, sometimes if for Christmas or your birthday you're like, well, I don't really need any clothes or shoes or something, but I'd really like something cool for homeschool. I encourage you, go ahead, spend your birthday money, spend your Christmas money on something that you know that you just want for homeschool. Like, do my 3-year-old and 2-year-old need a gigantic poetry anthology? No, they do not. Do I want one? Yes, because I don't own any poetry anthologies thus far in my life, and I saw this and I thought it was so cool. An animal poem for every day of the year. Tiger, tiger, burning bright. It has gorgeous illustrations. They're slightly reminiscent to me of Eric Carle, just in the kind of the layered effect. They are so cool. There's so much variety. Not all of the poems were originally in English, so they actually do have poems from a variety of cultures represented. They have quite a variety of animals represented as you go throughout the year. There's water animals, desert animals, Arctic, you know, pets. They've got insects. They've got some pretty oddball ones that you wouldn't necessarily think there were poems about. They've got an aardvark, anteaters, ants. They've got some poems that are more on the, you know, artsy, quiet, inspirational side. They've got quite a few that are on the funny side, which I love funny poetry. See, we've got orangutan. These illustrations are so cool, the full pages. I knew that my boys would also really love the illustrations, that they would love all the animals. Actually, when I got this book, I showed it to my son, and we had to sit down and we had to look through all, I don't know, 300 pages. We didn't read all the poems. We read a handful here and there, but we had to go and see every single one. I tried to stop him at around page 150 because his little brother was hungry, but he just wanted to, he kept going. But yes, this was my Christmas present for me, and I love it. So moving on, this was a cool find, and it's available on oyesbooks.com, but I'll probably just link to there. I don't think it's super widely available outside of our part of the world, but I do know that I have viewers from Southeast Asia, so I wanted to show this, Rainforest Hike and Other Stories. It is a very sweet little book, stories from a grandmother, and a lot of them are very nature-based. What I loved about this was that you can find books like this. Homeschoolers love books like this. Stories from a grandmother, stories about nature, you know, kind of looking at the past, looking at the natural world. All of them are set in like North America or Europe for the most part. it was so cool to me to be able to find a book like that, like this, that's set here in the rainforest, that's set somewhere realistic for us, using local vocabulary words, making something understandable that when we go on a walk, it doesn't look like a temperate forest, but it looks like the pictures that you can see in this book. It's a very, very short, simple chapter book. I think my boys will be ready for these chapters very soon. But in the meantime, probably my youngest sister can just read this, and it'll be easy for her, but it'll be really great because it's hard to find books set here for us. So this is a great, for any of my local viewers, Rainforest Hike and Other Stories. And obviously I think this would be great for people in the US as well, but I'm just not sure if it's even available. Now this is a book, I have to admit, this was totally, I got sold this book by Instagram. Well, I found it in a bookstore here, and then I was like, yeah, but I'd seen this cover on Instagram. I'd heard good things about it. I didn't actually know what was inside though. It just sounded cool from the title. Slow down, bring calm to a busy world with 50 nature stories. And it is exactly what it says. It's got 50, you can see the contents here. It's got 50 different just little stories of mainly processes in nature. Different processes. But look at the illustrations. What really sold me on this book was not, I had heard of it from Instagram, but what sold me on the book was when I came and saw it in a bookstore, looked inside the book and saw what it was actually like. Because this is so cool. My boys love detailed illustrations. They love to be able to really, Cyrus will take a hardcover book like this and he will just sit for half an hour, 45 minutes going through and studying the pictures, seeing what's happening. There's so much happening in these pictures. So what sold me was really the illustrations. There's a lot of information in here. It's not super, super heavy on words, a little probably a little on the long, I would say it's on the long side for my boys, but the very first time I got this book out, we actually read through 8 of the nature stories in a row because they kept asking for more. So maybe it's not too long for even little ones. But this was just amazing. This book is a delight. Oh, my boys loved this one. We are going to be doing gentle and classical nature this next school year, which has theme weeks basically, so a theme about a frog or a theme about a dragonfly, and pretty much all of those themes can be found in this book, so I think this will be a great add-on for that. Yeah, it basically goes through the whole book being awesome like that. So highly recommend. I actually think this book does exist in Spanish, but it wasn't sold in Spanish locally. I would have gotten it in Spanish if it were. Now this was a gift I picked out for my youngest sister for just a small gift for Christmas. I love activity books for Christmas gifts. She's getting a little bit old though for a lot of activity books, but I thought this was a really good level for her, really good level for bigger kids. It's going through different world cities, and then it just has different activities that relate to the different cities. So this is obviously something you would have to have a relatively good comprehension for to be able to understand. It's going beyond even just countries of the world, but different cities within the world. And she can find them on a map. She can stick the stickers wherever they are. There's coloring activities or kind of like little puzzles and games. It's nothing too challenging, but it's going through a whole bunch of cities here. I thought this was an excellent workbook, sticker book for when kids are getting to that older stage where a lot of the little activity books are too young for them. Super fantastic. I'm super happy with this. I went to this really awesome bookstore in the capital city, and then went a little bit crazy because they have a lot of books there that I can't just pick up in my city. So this one was the activity book I got for my youngest for just a small gift, stocking stuffer. It's for ages 2 and up from Kumon. I really like the 2-year-old Kumon books, and they have just super simple sticker activities, and this one was transportation themed, which I've got a 2-year-old boy. He loves that. We have board the bus, put cars on the road, put boats on the pond. Then we have vehicles, and you just have to put shapes on to kind of like complete the blank space on the vehicle. We can do vocabulary. I can use the English vocabulary, or we can practice on the Spanish vocabulary. I can just replace, you know, helicóptero instead of helicopter. Police car. Really, really simple little book for him. Then for my 3-year-old, he has been super into crafts recently. He's always like, "Can I do a craft, Mama?" It's so cute the way he says it too. And he loves animals, as you heard with the poem book. And I saw that this Kumon, basically craft paper play book, I thought it would be really good for him. There's just little kind of interactive crafts with different animals. And of course, we can be practicing our Spanish vocabulary. They have little facts about animals. Why is that called a hedgehog? A hippopotamus craft. You get to, you know, open the mouth. Giraffe. Sea otter has the little hands. Flamingo. It's basically just cut out and glue, which with a kid who's loves to use scissors and to use glue whenever he can. It's just a little fun activity thing. And that was his Christmas gift.